Fables is in the public domain. That means you can make a Fables comic. I could make a Fables comic. Everybody can make a Fables comic. There's no restrictions on it anymore. Bill Willingham has decided that he's going to make his Fables property into the public domain, so everybody has access to it. And why is he doing this? Well, because he's basically giving DC the middle finger for all the crap they've done to him. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of this, let me just give you a little bit of a background on what Fables is, in case you're unaware. Fables comic is basically a comic series about fairy tale creatures or fairy tale people and creatures and all of this living in secret in the modern world. There's the big bad wolf who's living as some guy. I think he's a detective or something. So, Snow White, Cinderella, Jack and the Beanstalk, all of them, all the fairy tale creatures that comes in all these different fairy tale books are actually in the modern world living in secret. Now, I read some issues of Fables some years ago. I thought it was actually pretty interesting. Wasn't wholly my cup of tea, but I will say that I did enjoy some of it. I did enjoy the story. I thought it was a nice twist to them, and they were actually really good. Now, initially, Fables was in Image Comics, I believe, and then, DC took over, and Bill Willingham and them have not had the best of relationships, so to speak. So let's get into what exactly has transpired that now Fables is public domain. Whether that lasts or not is to be seen, because I don't know what the whole contract surrounding DC and Bill Willingham and Fables is exactly. I'm not sure that hasn't been revealed yet, but let's get into this info. From Bounding into Comics, Fables creator Bill Willingham declares asymmetric warfare on DC Comics, releases series to public domain. Again, like I say, if you want to make a Fables comic, feel free to, it's now public domain. Fables creator Bill Willingham has made a nearly unprecedented move, allowing his creation to enter the public domain. Willingham announced the move via a press release shared on Substack stating, as of now, 15th December 2023, the comic book property called Fables, including all related Fables spin-off and characters, is now in the public domain. What was once wholly owned by Bill Willingham is now owned by everyone for all time. It's done. And as most experts will tell you, once done, it cannot be undone. Take-backs are neither contemplated nor possible. Come on, that said pretty openly. Yep, it's out there. Take it. You want it? Go ahead. Do what you got to do with it. Continues on. Since I can't afford to sue DC, to force them to live up to the letter and the spirit of our long-time agreement, since even winning such a suit would take ridiculous amounts of money out of my pocket and years out of my life. I'm 67 years old and don't have the years to spare. I've decided to take a different approach and fight them in a different arena, inspired by the principles of asymmetric warfare, Willingham declared. He added, the one thing in our contract that DC lawyers can't contest or reinterpret to their own benefit is that I am the sole owner of the intellectual property. I can sell it or give it away to whomever I want. Now, as I say, that's what he's saying. But remember, DC may have clauses and certain things in there I don't know about that hasn't been revealed. So we're not sure what they're going to do. But as of right now, Bill Willingham has put Fables out into the public domain. Because like he said, he cannot afford to continue with them not living up to the letter and spirit of our long time agreement. That he cannot afford to sue DC. Remember, DC is backed by Warner. So all the garbage crap that they're making, that they're calling comics nowadays, they are backed by Warner, so they could fight a lawsuit for years to come and take a good chunk of money out of his pocket and years out of his life. So he figured to himself, you know what? I don't have that kind of time, money, or energy. Let me just put it out into public domain and tell DC quite abundantly to go after themselves. That's it. He goes on to answer why he made this move, which is partly to do with his feelings on copyright and trademark law being broken and his desire to fix the system by leading by example. But the majority of the press release is then dedicated to calling out bad business practices by DC Comics. This is what Bill Willingham had to say. When honest people occupy the corporations, they often do the right thing. When those honest people are replaced by low-character thugs over the span of years, the corporations become incapable of doing the right thing. I'm not going to deny that, because from some of the information that I have gotten, you can't even speak to anybody at DC Comics anymore. Literally, you cannot even speak to anybody at DC Comics anymore. They just take whatever it is they want and do as they damn well please. If you call them, if you call the seniors, you say that you want to get in touch with so and so person kind of thing, they'll say, okay, sure, somebody will get in touch with you. Weeks will pass, nothing. You call back, same thing. You cannot speak to anybody there anymore because they just don't care anymore. They've just checked out and decided, you know what, we are going to do whatever the hell we want. That's it. You don't like it, fire for you. His post on X echoed his press release, which cites current DC employees as being revolving door of strangers of no measurable integrity who now choose to interpret every facet of our contract in ways that only benefit DC Comics and its owner companies. Yep, I've actually heard that bit of information said before by somebody else. At one time, the Fables properties were in good hands, and now by virtue of attrition and employee replacement, the Fables properties have fallen into bad hands, Willingham continued here. While a lawsuit might settle matters of contractual dispute, the Fables creator believes it too would take far too much money and far too many years for him to be able to properly fight. Since the contract lists him as the sole intellectual property owner, placing the characters in the public domain is his way of fighting against the current DC Comics regime's predatory business practices. I highly doubt DC is going to go down without a fight on this one because they're just that vindictive and wicked. Honestly, they're just that vindictive and wicked. Willingham states the egregious behaviors of DC Comics regarding Fables are too long to list. However, he offers some highlights. First, he accuses DC Comics of making creative decisions on the Fables property without his consent over the years. He then claims they tried to strong-arm the ownership of Fables from me. That's pretty much kind of what happened with Superman when Jerry Siegel and Drew Shuster created him years ago, something similar to that, but not quite. You could look up that if you have some time. Finally, Willingham says DC officers admitted that their interpretation of our publishing agreement and the following media rights agreement is that they could do whatever they wanted with the property. They could change stories or characters in any way they wanted. They had no obligation whatsoever to protect the integrity and value of the IP, either from themselves or from third parties. Telltale Games, for instance, want to radically alter the characters, settings, histories, and premises of the story. Yeah, Telltale Games wanted to do this entire different thing from what Fables was supposed to be about. So DC was like, okay, sure, do that as long as you give us money. The news comes as a surprise to fans as Willingham returned to the Fables story after a years-long hiatus in 2022, he launched a new arc which was slated to go 12 issues but is, as of current, incomplete. DC Comics still has the planned finale of issue number 162 solicited for September with a release date of 11/14/23. Willingham tweeted when a fan asked if they would still be released. He said, I believe so. I've long ago finished my part of them prior to wiping the dust of DC from my feet and being paid for them. I guess it's up to DC. Regardless, Willingham gives the public rights to do their own works with his creation, with the press release stating you have the rights to make your Fables movies and cartoons and publish your Fables books and manufacture your Fables toys and do anything you want with your property because it's your property. Right? That's what he's done. But let me just say this. Let me just say this. As it goes forward, let me just say this. You see, well, not that image was vertigo that I think Fables was on the right here. Let me just say this. This is why a lot of creators tend to put out their works independently on their own, rather than have anything to do with DC and Marvel. Because it has become such bad practice for these companies, such utter bad practice for these companies, in the way that they literally poison the well that they expect creators to drink from. They will be happy to take your work, bastardize it into anything that they want, pay you next to nothing, and walk away smiling. When creators want to make their own works, a lot of them now are doing independent comics that they're doing and making a damn good living off of it. If you are an independent creator out there, and you're thinking that, Marvel and DC are the pinnacle that you need to reach to, they are not anymore. They have destroyed that because they don't care anymore. They don't. The only thing they care about is their own bottom line, and they want that is to put money in their pockets and screw over everyone else. DC Comics continues to just be dead comics because not just with the crap that they're putting out, but the way that they're treating the people that they are supposedly supposed to be working with. It shows how these people just don't care at all. They've made up their mind to just not give a flying crap about anything. And the only thing you can do is just walk away from it. So Bill Willingham has decided, he's going to put Fables out into the public domain because he would rather see everybody own it than DC continue to destroy his work. That's it. That is how far DC has pushed this man, and he decided, I'd rather just have everybody else do what they want with it and have everybody else own it and to give anything to DC anymore. I'm so sick of them. That's basically saying sick of them. And he just would rather move on to something else than to do this nonsense. So, DC got the middle finger from Bill Willingham. He decided, Fables is now in the public domain. So if you want to do a Fables comic or take some characters from there and do something with them, okay. But again, as I say, if you are an independent creator, don't run down Marvel and DC because they're not going to run you down. They don't care. And what you need to do is create your own work, put it out there, make something fantastic and stick it to them. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, should hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the notification bell if I ever put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.